Hi there, I'm getting ready to do a experimental blend from the tea, which is Grimoire. And this will be my first tea I'm making from the book, so we'll see how it goes. This little poppet here is to, set aside some intention that I'm doing also this for Mystical Misty's channel, because she's been a little bit under the weather lately with allergies and such. So I'm sending out this video to her. So let's get busy. Okay, so this is going to be the recipe that we're working on. It's called Beauty Tea, and you can see all the ingredients there. And I've brought some of the things I was able to find at Bulk Barn together for mixing teas to have them at ready. And I might even, I have pulled a card actually from the Intuition Oracle. It suggested a vanilla tea light. Well, I have a shortbread tea light going there. I have my teapot, some more herbs over here, and some tools to get me going in christening this cup for the first blend. Pretty exciting. Now, let's get this in the holder and get ready to introduce this tea. Now, this tea is titled Beauty Tea, but I'm doing it as kindness tea. I think everyone could deserve a little self-care, and there's lots of people in the world right now that could use a little kindness. So we can bring some magic into this brewing of the tea by just adjusting some of our thoughts, our intentions, and still making it personal to ourselves. Now, I would suggest that when you make your tea, you feel free to change any of this up that you want to. Substitutions are allowed. And, if you want to use your pendulum, your intuition, whatever, brew up your pot. And if you don't want to call it kindness tea, call it something else. But I was thinking of Mystical Misty when I was brewing this. And the thought of brewing it and sending those good intentions and healing intentions to her is my main goal, as well as showing you how you can substitute and make your own pot of whatever tea you want to call it. So my teapot is not perfectly white. I'll move this aside so you can see. It is actually a teapot that a friend gifted to me with a peacock. Now, I like it. It's about the perfect size for me for brewing. I'll put a little bit of the mix that I make into this, let it sit, and we'll sample it and see how it goes. It says you can use cream. You could also use honey if you wanted to. And I was able to find some vanilla sugar and some coconut sugar. So what I did was just go through this book and get as many ideas for the types of herbs that I would need in order to create the brews. So I hope that this will work for you because I think it's a well worth investment. But let's see how the tea blend goes. So let me put this off to the side where I can see it. So the teapot is ready. I don't have a tea warmer because I'm going to drink it right away, although I do have a tea warmer. Let's see, 1 teaspoon of blue vervain. Now this is where the substitutions are going to start almost immediately. So I'm going to lower the camera here so that you can see. And I think I'm going to get the camera a little bit higher so you can see into the cup. Okay, so that's our bird's eye view. Now, my vervain is not blue vervain, it is just vervain. But I do like to put my little cheat sheet notes on top so you can see this is good for purifying as well as friendship. So if I'm wanting to send kindness out, it can be done for love spells as well. So I'm going to open this and it wants to have 1 teaspoon of vervain. Now, this I measured out is about 1/2 teaspoon. So I'm going to take 2 scoops of this and put it in here. And I won't know how I want to adjust it until I experiment and play with the different herbs. So then it wants a half a teaspoon of anise seed. So that I put into here, got that at Value Village. So I'm just going to use this. Whoops, it does have these little plastic things in some of the lids, but they don't stay. So off it goes. So put this back here, and we're trying to get a half a teaspoon. This should taste a little bit spicy and licoricey, so that's going in. And then it said 2 teaspoons of rose hips. 2 teaspoons. So if this is a half, I'm going to need 4 of these. So there's my little rose hips from another shopping extravaganza. Now I don't think you can see in there because it's kind of dark, but I'll lift it up there. So if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, thereabouts. And I'll just show you that they're kind of hard little kernely things. They almost look like dried raisins. So those are my rose hips that have gone in. So far we haven't changed too much. And instead of a sprig of rosemary, I'm going to put a dash of dried rosemary. So, garden's not ready right now for this, so here's my half a teaspoon of rosemary. And it is fun to go to the thrift stores and find jars to hold all of your ingredients. That's a blast. Now, the other thing I'm going to add in is from my garden, and that's a little bit of lovage. This is a very, very pleasant herb to use. So I'm going to put a half a teaspoon of lovage in. And it's another one good for friendship. So I think that is my other one that I wanted to sub in. It is in. Now, what I'm just going to do is take a moment and put those intentions into these herbs. You know, it's a matter of, with clean hands, stirring things around, maybe opening up some of the aroma from the herbs as you sort of push them one against the other, and getting a good mix there. Just taking a moment and putting the thoughts out there that this is a kindness tea. This is going out to everyone who needs a little bit of kindness wherever they are, including ourselves, being kind to ourselves. So that is my mix. Now I did get a batch of these bottles, and they've been sitting on my shelf. I washed and got those all ready to go. And afterwards, I'm going to put in the remnants of the mix that I've just made in here and labeling it. And I might even put the page number so that if I need to refer back to the book, I can. But it'll be all ready for me. And if I enjoy it and want to think about someone else down the road, sending them kindness, I can do this again. So that goes there. Now, the next step, hang on, is to have boiling water. Place your teapot on the warmer with the vanilla tea light. Well, we're not doing that. Blend your recipe. We did that. In the strainer in the teapot, and holding your hands over the herbs, you visualize a golden aura infusing the person that you're sending it to. So that's important, just to picture. I have not met Misty, but I can hear her voice in my head. I've watched her station, and it's like a heartfelt connection going out from me into my hands to the tea and readying it for the process ahead. You visualize the essence of what kindness means to you, and you breathe that spark into the tea leaves. And then when you're ready, you pour the hot water over the tea and brew it for 5 minutes. So I'm just going to pause here and get the hot water. Now, I should say also that I'm not going to use, as I say, I think I said that, all of this. I've taken 1 heaping teaspoon and placed it in the teapot. And the idea too is that I'm hoping that it flows through the teapot nicely, and that I might even get some herbs in my teacup that after the video I can look into the leaves and look for patterns and images and see what it says, because I want to get back to that. That is part of my mother's and grandmother's era of fun and entertainment, and just a little bit of that today for myself will be lovely. So I'm just about to go get the water and set it in the teapot. Okay, the water is in, the nice little leaves are floating. I have my timer set. So I'm just going to move this aside for a moment. And while the timer is ticking off its time, show you a few of the other things that are in this little box. I've still, as I say, got to find the perfect box for holding all of this. And I'll adjust the camera again. Yeah, these were kind of things that I thought would repeat in some of my recipes. So there are some goji berries in there. Some were chopped, some were left whole. I did get some fruits. I want to add that. Now, if it's a sticky fruit, it doesn't really come out of the bottle as well as I would like. So what I ended up doing was putting fruits in tiny little bags. And if I use them up quickly, I don't think it'll be bad. So there's some apple pieces I cut up. This is another rose black tea with extra rose that I put into it. I did find a really neat mixed peel. That looks yummy. And then I got some chopped dates. So these are healthy teas that we're going to be making for our magical brews. There's some pineapple, but just because it's healthy doesn't mean it doesn't have to taste yummy. So these are little green tea jasmine balls that open up when they hit the water. I got some cinnamon sticks because in the magical process you can be stirring anti-clockwise to rid yourself of something and clockwise to bring something in. And it's nice to have a fragrant cinnamon stick to do that with. So those are a few of those. And rose petals, it's suggested putting rose petals around your teacup. This one is just about had its day, so I'm going to be taking this all apart and letting it dry for future little tea adventures. It's always nice to have extra rose petals for magic and for your spells at hand. So that is that. All right, so even the process of pouring the tea into your cup can be magical. We put all those intentions into the leaves. We've added the water. Those few moments as it's brewing could be spent thinking of the other person that you're sending this kindness to. And the act of pouring it out can be, again, that act of allowing the energy that you've put into this to be given and gifted to the person you wish to send it to. So I have let this steep and it is flowing through my teapot nicely. I will have bits at the end that I can read with. And most of these little bits, they all settle down. And I could actually use a strainer. I brought this to the table so that I could pour through it. But then you don't get all these little bits unless you pick some out of the strainer and add it after. So again, you can be, thinking of the person and adding in that extra little bit of energy. I'm going clockwise and asking that this energy be positive, that flows towards Mystical Misty, bringing her some peacefulness, some joy, a way forward, kindness. And we'll just let that sit there for a moment and calm itself back down again. And then I want to sample it and see what it tastes like. Okay, let's see what this tastes like. Really lovely. I think it's a beautiful blend actually. And I'm picking up hints of the anise. Anise. This is quite nice. I think the lovage gave a little bit of softness to it. I can't say that it tastes like rosemary or rosehip. It's just a really nice blend. So as it was sitting there, I put more intentions into it. And it was neat when I swirled it and took the spoon out because it was still swirling in that clockwise motion while some of the herbs were resting on top. It was really, really lovely. So you could add sugar. I don't think I need to. I don't think I would add cream. I think it's just wonderful the way it is. But if you like something a little sweet, you might want to try honey in it. Just a dab. But taste it first because it has its own beauty. So now I wanted to show also that I picked a card with energy for Mystical Misty, and I'm using, let's just reach it here, the Intuition Oracle. And this I showed on my station. There's 52 cards. I asked for a card for Misty, and I got this one. And I thought that was uplifting. Just the image itself. I mean, the red that is portrayed on her outfit shows that passion and desire to what? To reach out and transform a situation. Because you got the phoenix, it looks like to me, above there. And that's when something has reached its peak. Then, like in the Harry Potter movie, it turns to ash, and then it is reborn from the ash. So whatever she is going through, I think this shows that, she just has to reach up with the energy that she has, the desire that she has, and ask for a new way forward, a new start, a way of transforming whatever it is that's bothering her. And I think it's her allergies in that right now. So maybe with the heat of summer, that time frame for me gives her a chance to heal. And I've got some herbs and all kinds of things fluttering on my card here. But let's turn it over and see what it says. The Summoner. So there's an affirmation that can be said. I ask for what I want because I deserve to get it. So sending that energy out to Mystical Misty that, ask, summon it, summon your strength, summon your power, and look forward to summer in the heat of the year when maybe you can let go of these things and these issues that seem to be piling up. Transform, get rid of what isn't working for you, and raise your hands, raise your head, and with energy and strength, ask and summon the energy that you need to make this transformative move forward. So I also brought in a little bit of heather. It said you could put rose petals around your teacup as you drank it. I chose heather because for me that is another one for friendship. But I do have some of the rose petals that I can peel off and place around the cup. And it's just a way of taking a few moments out of your busy time to brew yourself some kindness. And sharing that with someone else makes it even better. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Let me know. This is Craigie Brook Witchery. I'm going to sit and enjoy this sip of kindness and go about my day. Thanks for watching.